Well, this is embarrassing. 2014 Ford Escape. Lady brought it in, had it towed in, because she said the vehicle was driving out of control and the engine was racing. Put it in park and it was tapped out, so she had it towed here. I started up on the parking lot, and indeed she is correct. I started it, it idled fine, but as soon as you touch the throttle, it would rev right up to about 4,000 RPM. You had to shut the key off. Oh, I just gave it some throttle. My foot's not on the throttle now, it's over here. That's interesting. Stepping on the brake. Let me just give it some more throttle. I'm just going to bump the throttle again. Well, actually, I'm not. Alright, maybe we better shut it off. Same thing going down the road. Took it for a little rip down the road there, and it would go about 45, 50 miles an hour with your foot off the throttle. Oh, wow. That sounds really terrible. Do you guys hear that? Sounds like we're losing all our boost. Okay, something's wrong there, my guy. It doesn't, so right now my foot's not on the gas pedal and we're doing a solid 40. So we better slow down here and just whip a Yui. No big deal. I brought it in, and the first thing I noticed when I drove it is you could hear all the boost leaking. You know, every time the turbo would spool up, it would just big whistle and sound under the hood. No big deal. So we'll bring it in and see what's wrong. And what the problem is something that I just did to this vehicle a month and a half ago and about 2,000 miles ago. So it hasn't been very long, and that was a simple canister purge valve. Put one on there from Napa. Not a sponsor, but they're on back order from Ford. And the problem with this vehicle was every time she got gas, couldn't get the car started. And, you know, of course, it had multiple codes too. So we put a canister purge valve on it. And unbeknownst to me, it must not have clicked in to the intake when I put it on. I must have felt the O-ring click on, and, you know, here we are. I'm not trying to make excuses, but let me show you. It's kind of my fault, but kind of not my fault. Does that make sense? So here's where it blew apart. This is part of the purge valve. The purge valve on these EcoBoosts are a long monstrosity of cables and such. But it clicks onto this barb on the intake manifold. It must be when I stuck it on initially, I perhaps didn't hear it click, because it's impossible for it to have clicked. It is not made correctly. So you have the barb here of the manifold comes out, and it's you know, barbed. It's tapered on both the left side and the right side, and there's corresponding latches, if you will, on the hose that goes to the purge valve. However, the depth of them, even when this is shoved in and bottomed out, is not far enough to grasp onto the back side of that barb. I don't know how it stayed on for a month and a half and 2,000 miles of turbo boosting, but it must have, until it finally says not today. The O-ring, you know, is finally wore down enough. Needless to say, we need to see if this is a design flaw all the way across the board, or if this is just a one-off case. Napa happens to have another one of these in stock, oddly enough, so I'm having them send us up another one to see if it has the same design flaw as this one. Hopefully this is an error on this single piece only. That's kind of peculiar, and I'm slightly embarrassed that I missed that. Dang it. Shame on me. Here's your 2284-057. I almost did a solo unboxing. I cut the tape and figured you guys are gonna miss the money shot. So here's your purge valve when you get it from Napa, and that's what it looks like. It comes in multiple pieces, unlike the OEM one. So this is the hose we're after, however, is this one here. I was trying to find the 800 number there for the Eklund, which I think is Standard Motor Products. This isn't going to be any different. This looks exactly the same, because I wanted to see if this was a one-off. I'm the only one that ever had this problem, which is typically what the tech support places will tell you, like, we've never seen that before. Yeah, so same situation. It will not grasp onto the barbs, so naturally this will not work. Well, son of a bee, because this part is on an infinite back order from Ford. You cannot buy this from Ford because it's on back order forever due to unprecedented circumstances, pandemics, lack of supply, blah, blah, blah. So now what does the guy do? Besides look like a complete idiot. Well, what we need to do at this point is double check with Ford first and foremost to make sure that this is still on back order. Maybe by some divine intervention that it will not be, or they will have one that's obtainable, which will be great because that solves the whole problem. And secondly, we're gonna call Eklund as soon as the Napa system is no longer broke, but it's been broke for 2 days now, and we can get a phone number. So let's track this down. I got a VIN number here for you.
Okay.
It's a Golf Uniform Charlie 03066. Yes, ma'am. The canister purge valve. I just need valvability more than anything.
Alright, so that includes all the hoses.
Yeah, it should be a big monstrosity of a part here.
They're back ordered until 9/22.
Oh, okay, so they're still on back order.
Yep.
And then the 922, that's just a fictitious number they put with it. It doesn't really mean much.
Pretty much.
Okie dokie. That's all I want to know.
Alright.
Thank you.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Bye. So there, that's the new thing the dealers are doing, more particularly on Ford. When you order something, they say, oh, it's back ordered until 9/22. Well, today happens to be 8/31, so you know, it's always around 20 to 24 days out. And then when 9/22 comes, well, now all of a sudden it's on back order till 9/30, and you just play the stupid game over and over. So let's see if we can get a hold of Eklund to find out. I can't find their phone number. They just want you to email them. So we're going to call Napa and see if we can get their number and find out that we're the only person in the world who's ever had this problem.
This is Motor Products, Engine Management Tech Line.
Your call may be monitored for quality assurance.
Oh, good.
Please hold and the next available representative will be with you shortly.
This is Eric up South Main Auto in Avoca, New York. Having a little problem with the canister purge valve on a 16 Ford Escape. And I was hoping maybe you could shed some light on the subject here.
An application issue?
Yeah, I want to make sure it's the correct application. I've got the
Hold on a second.
I've got the Napa number here for you.
Let me look it up here. You said 2016, right?
Yeah, 2016 Ford Escape. It's got the 1.6 liter.
Okay, so I showed 2-284057.
Yep, 2284057. Yep, that's the one we have. Actually, I have two of them here. So neither one of them will clip onto the nipple off the intake manifold, so the main vacuum supply that goes to the purge valve. The retaining tab that's on these two Eklund products here, they're too short and they don't grab a hold of the barb, and it causes them to blow off under pressure. Has anybody else reported this problem, or is this the first time?
Yeah, that's what I'm about to check now. I can see.
Yeah. 50 bucks says it's the first time watch. This ain't my first rodeo.
No complaint on this.
All right, no complaints on it. Huh? Yeah, pretty interesting because like I say, I've got two of them right here. They're the same exact way, and neither one of them will fit the intake manifold. You know, the pipe size is correct. The O-ring is correct. It slides on and it appears like it's going to fit, but it doesn't engage. It doesn't click on. And then when you take the car for a drive, it naturally blows off under boost, and then the engine takes off out of control.
Okay. Yeah, and even the lines, I mean, is something that you can change the lines or anything chance on it, or? No,
they're all pressed on fittings. Wherever Standard buys them from, the fittings are all pressed on and everything, so there's nothing you can really do. I thought the first one might be defective, so I ordered a second one, and it came through the same exact way, and it's the factory intake manifold on this car. Okay, all right, well, there's probably no resolution.
Yeah, well, eventually I'm going to report this anyway.
Okay.
Okay?
All right, thank you. Yep, bye. Yeah, same crap, different day. It's not even worth sending them an email because nothing ever gets done about it. That's kind of the crappy part about dealing with larger companies. Stuff like this doesn't matter. So no big deal. But I do got to get my butt out of a bind, so we're going to try to come up with a solution. Obviously, they're on back order indefinitely. Standard Motor Products has never heard of it. You know, first off case, blah, blah, frickin' blah. So let's figure something out, folks. You ever feel like you're backed into a corner, folks? Here we are. We're backed into that corner. Customer's not upset. We have a few days. Explained to him what's going on and told him I'm trying to come up with a reasonable resolution. I looked on the Rock Auto on the interweb here. They've got two different brands. This WVE brand, which is unavailable. And they have a Standard Motor Products, which we already know doesn't work. And we have this one from none other than Dorman. And I do know across the supply chain to these manufacturers that they buy from bigger wholesalers. For example, like Standard Motor Products, when we go to Advance Auto, that's what we're going to get. And when we go to Napa, we're going to get an Eklund. However, they're both the same part, you know, from the same supplier, just different boxes. And that's very, very common across the auto parts manufacturer. So my fear is that perhaps the Dorman one, they're pulling from the same kitty that, you know, SMP and Eklund and, you know, a host of others are selling the same crap, different prices, different boxes. But theirs is not made in the USA and it looks physically different. So I suspect it is not the same. I can call them to be sure, but I think what we need to do is either A, find a used one, B, jerry rig this one together so the lady can drive it, which evidently is dangerous when it pops apart because, you know, the engine revs up, or C, we roll the dice and try our hand at the Dorman one and hopefully it fits. And I think that's what I'm going to do. This has been a straight up week of frustration, folks. Not gonna lie to you. Not gonna bore you with the details either. So here's the box that came through from Napper. Not a sponsor, but it is the Dorman one. So there's the Napper number right there. Let's have a look, see? Like I say, we don't have to go as far as even putting this thing on. There is this one down here. Who are we? This one right here is the one we're after, so we don't even have to open up anything except for this one. I don't get it. The dude bought all electric lawn equipment, electric mower, electric weed whackers, but we hung on to the gas job. Oh, okay, we'll close the door there. So here is the one that goes on the intake manifold. Same style connector, everything. Let's see if it is deeper. She's a double donger O-ringer, where the SMP one, or the Napa, or the Eklund is a single O-ring jobby. Let's just have a look in comparison here before we even click it on to see if it looks deeper throated. And it does. So here, I think the Dorman one will work. Let's have a closer look. So you guys can see the difference there, hopefully. I haven't clicked the Dorman one on yet, but you can see it goes in deeper. This is where the latches are. That's about the distance that we lapped. Technically, I should be able to click this on here, and it should latch. Now, let me unenhance you here for a moment. Unenhance. Because it does need to be running parallel like this, because the barbs on this are only on the side, they're not on the top, so it's not a fair assessment to stick it on it out of position. But if we stick it on like this, it should latch, and it does. That one latches on, the old one doesn't. So now we have to release it by squeezing the tabs and pulling it off. So therefore, Dorman FTW for the win. Provided the rest of it fits. Why did we start making this video? I don't even know what the purpose was at this point. However, I'm not going to bore you with the details of changing out the solenoid. We do have to pull the intake off here, or not the intake, but the air intake tube, and then the hose runs down to, I think, down near the air charge cooler, the inlet coming in up through there. I'm going to get this apart. We're going to try to put the Dorman one on. I'm a little stressed out today. just for a little bit of clarity, the Standard Motor Products one here, the Eklund one is 1 3/8, we'll say. Overall length of the Dorman one is 1.5 inches, we'll call it. So we're looking only an 1/8 of an inch difference. 1 3/8 to 1 4/8, 1/8 of an inch. That's all it takes, baby. Just that extra little bit. The rest of the connections and everything on this one look okay. The rest of that one were okay. I'm gonna shove this in there. Hopefully it works well. I've had limited good experience with Dorman purge valves in the past. This is all I care about right now. Make sure this thing hooks up and at least make the vehicle drivable again. All right, everything went in, it fit fine. For whatever reason, they send it with the bracket. I didn't see any sense in changing bracket, but it looks exactly like the OEM. So perhaps if the OEM one was missing, maybe. And it fit fine otherwise. So all the other connections were just fine. They did make a few improvements. I guess if they can make improvements, a few of the spots where the hose runs close to the body, they put like a rubber sleeve on it. So I guess that's good. I don't know if they're prone to rubbing through or not. I've never seen one rub through, but yeah, that sucker clicks on now. Clicks on nice. So I guess that's it. And I guess back to my original question, when we started making this video, I think we started making this video because I had a comeback. And an embarrassing one, because I should have noticed that, but I didn't. It is what it is. I'm covering this for the customer. Even if there's a difference in cost of the part, I don't think there is. We're taking care of it. We're moving on. That's it, folks. We're gonna eat this one. We're gonna send this back to Napa. We'll put her in the Dorman box here. They'll give us our money back for the Eklund one, and we'll just send the customer on their way. All is well in the world. It's too bad that these companies didn't care a little bit more and, you know, do some field research and some product development. You know, they did say I could email them in a picture, but you know, where's that going to go? It gets lost in some guy's desk. Nothing gets changed. They sell hundreds and thousands of different part numbers. So some ding dong from Avoca, New York calls them. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day. What does matter is that we're able to get the customer fixed and get them back out on the road, and no charge them, just, you know, without their car for a day. So not too big a deal at the end. I'm glad the Dorman one worked. I'd be a whole lot more glad if we were able to get one from Ford, but we can't. As you guys heard earlier, they just have these fictitious dates they give you that don't mean anything. But that's the world we're living in nowadays. It sucks that it's called the new normal, but it is. I can't change it, but what I can change is I can change the way I tell you to go into that comment section, the questions, the concerns, the Insta, Facebook. Just remember, viewers, if I can do it, you can do it. Thanks for watching.